A young Ronaldo quickly realized that his potential was something he could never afford to waste. The following year, he pushed through the challenges and returned to Sporting CP, where the other players would eventually become like family to him. For an 11-year-old academy player at one of Portugal's top clubs, it seemed like a dream come true. And it was. But the reality was far from ideal. The conditions were less than perfect. The rooms were small and uncomfortable, so Ronaldo would only use them to sleep, spending most of his days at the beach, training, going to school, or wandering the streets of Lisbon. Money was still tight, and he and his friends often had to visit the local McDonald's late at night, asking for leftover burgers. When Ronaldo turned 14, he faced two of the toughest years of his life. Despite finding a sense of community at the academy, he continued to face bullying at school. He tried to brush it off, but one day, a teacher mocked his accent in front of the entire class. This pushed Ronaldo to his breaking point. He talked back, but instead of understanding his frustration, the teacher doubled down and mocked his family for being poor. That was the moment Ronaldo snapped. He threw a chair at the teacher and, as a result, was expelled. Afterward, he spoke with his mom and made a life-changing decision. He would leave school and dedicate himself fully to his football career. This put enormous pressure on him. He knew that failure was not an option. He had to give everything he had, and just when things seemed to be on track, life threw him another challenge. At just 15 years old, Ronaldo was diagnosed with a heart condition called racing heart syndrome. His heart would race uncontrollably even when he was at rest. How could he continue pushing his body to the limit without putting his life at risk? That same week, Ronaldo underwent surgery. Imagine being 15, away from home, having left school to chase your dream, and now facing the possibility that your dreams could be shattered. Thankfully, the surgery was a success, and just days later, Ronaldo was back on the training field, ready to fight for his future. Over the years, Ronaldo's resilience became evident as he continually proved his worth. He rose through Sporting's academy ranks, often playing alongside older players. His progress led to frequent call-ups to Portugal's youth national teams, where he made a huge impact, scoring a total of 18 goals.
Ronaldo would become the first ever player to play for the under-16, 17, 18, B team and first team all in one season. But his debut in the Portuguese league would only come in 2002, a few months after he turned 17 in a match against Moreirense. Ronaldo would go all in, getting the ball in the net for the first time just as the game started, but it would be deemed offside. He would test the keeper's reflexes once again later, and before half-time, he would get the ball near the center circle, dribble not one, not two, but every Moreirense player, and then chip the ball over the keeper to get his first competitive goal. That same game, it would show how much he enjoyed scoring them, as he got his second goal in the last minute of the match. He would finish the season with the third highest goals per minute, only behind the two main strikers, which is understandable, as he played as an attacking midfielder for Sporting. His performances would catch the eye of many European clubs, including Manchester United, who wanted to sign him and then loan him back to Sporting so he could keep progressing, but his fate would be truly decided on the 6th of August of 2003. Sporting had built themselves a new stadium as Portugal prepared for the Euro 2004, and for its inauguration they decided to invite over Manchester United to play a friendly match against them. It is hard to put into words what happened that day. Ronaldo was a man on a mission. It would look simply unplayable. An 18-year-old was terrorizing the Manchester United defense. He would get his first assist by the 25th minute. By halftime, it would be all the Manchester United players talked about in the locker room. The second half would be equally impressive. Before the match ended, it would create the chance for the third Sporting goal as they defeated Manchester United 3-1. On the plane home, Manchester United players told tales of the Portuguese wonder kid they had found, begging Sir Alex to sign him. And only 6 days later, Ronaldo would be arriving in Manchester. He was the first ever Portuguese player to be signed by Manchester United. At £13 million, he was the most expensive teenager in English football history, surpassing another Portuguese teenager, Hugo Viana, who Newcastle paid £8 million for. As he was shown around the premises and dealt with the remaining bureaucracy, Ronaldo was asked to choose his shirt number. He would choose the number 28, but then Sir Alex Ferguson would personally speak to him and ask him to wear the number 7. This was a sign of what was to come. Sir Alex saw in Ronaldo what the world would only witness a few years later. Ronaldo would not shy away from the pressure, and he would follow George Best, Eric Cantona and more recently David Beckham in the task of carrying the weight of the number 7 on his back. Only 4 days after signing contract with Man United, Cristiano stepped into Old Trafford for his first match as a Red Devil. 67,000 people cheered in the stands as on the 61st minute Sir Alex looked back onto the bench and asked Ronaldo to get ready. The 18-year-old would come on exchange for Nicky Butt, with dyed blonde streaks taped around both his ankles, wearing silver R9 mercurial vapors as he chewed gum. He stepped onto the pitch, and another fairy tale would start. Cristiano absolutely destroyed the opposition with a seemingly never-ending skill set. His feet seemed too fast for the human mind to process. He was so confident that by stoppage time he would ask Phil Neville to step aside so he could take a free kick. His confidence was surely never in question. By the end of the match, George Best would call it, undoubtedly, the most exciting debut he had ever seen. As his last few weeks seemed like a frenetic run from one meaningful day to another, just 4 days after his debut for Manchester United, he would also have his debut for the Portuguese national team in a 1-0 win over Kazakhstan. In his first season, he would get 40 appearances, mostly coming from the bench, as he would manage 4 goals and 9 assists. He would also make his debut in the Champions League against Stuttgart, as he would crash out of the competition in the last 16 in a 3-2 defeat against Porto, who would go on to win the competition. His last 2 matches would be the most notorious, as he would score on both, getting his first red card on the first of the 2, a league game against Aston Villa, and winning his first trophy in the second as he scored the opening goal in the FA Cup final. As summer arrived, it was time for another big challenge. Cristiano would be called up for the Euro 2004, the first ever to be played in Portugal. Imagine you are 19 years old and you are put on a bus that will drive across your homeland. You look around and the other people in it are Ballon d'Or and Champions League winners, legends known all around the world. You look out the window and there's thousands swarming the bus no matter how far from the stadium you might be. Euro 2004 was one of the most magical and memorable moments in Portuguese football. Everyone came together to witness the golden generation power through the competition. Throughout that tournament, Portugal truly played with 12 men on the pitch. Ronaldo was no average young man. He would not let himself fall under pressure. From the first game, he would come in from the bench and score Portugal's only goal as they lost against Greece. Then they would play Russia, and once again Ronaldo came in late and assisted Rui Costa as he doubled Portugal's lead. In the last match of the group stage, they would beat Spain as Ronaldo was part of the starting lineup. Just like that, Portugal were 3 matches away from possibly becoming European champions in their home turf. The quarterfinal match would start in the worst way possible as Michael Owen put England in front just 3 minutes into the match. Both teams would battle each other for 80 minutes, only to be stopped by Elder Postiga, who would come from the bench to equalize. The game would go into extra time and the drama would not stop there. Rui Costa would score 10 minutes before the end, but Portugal would not manage to hold their lead as Frank Lampard would tie the match once again. It was time to play the roulette. The game would be decided on penalties. David Beckham would miss the first, Rui Costa would miss as well, and they would take Portugal to the semi-finals, where they would meet the Netherlands.